What's going on, guys? This is Logan with West Desert Wheeler. Today we're gonna stop by Sky RC. I just got that new Vanquish Builders Bundle in the mail. Super stoked on that. But we're gonna go down to Sky RC and pick up the extras needed to finish out that kit. It's a slider, so we're gonna need some wheels and tires and a body. Let's go check out Sky RC shop. What's going on, guys? Got Cody from Sky RC back here. How's it going, buddy? I'm gonna go raid your shop and pick out some new parts for the new build. Just got the fresh Traxxas XRT sitting in here. Just pulled that out of the box. This thing looks awesome, but that's a different video. We'll worry about that later. Got my baby Capra hanging out for a minute, showing Cody the new release there. All right, got our wall of tires back here. Time to make a choice on tires. I'm pretty picky about the way they look and what I want out of it. Also need good performance. I have not tried out the new Vanquish Products tires. Maybe this is a good opportunity. So maybe I'll grab a set of those. Yeah, got the new red compound. That'll be pretty cool. And then let's check out some of the other stuff these guys have. Cody even carries my own part. They've got Rock Pirates RC. Got some G-Speed parts in here as well. These guys are taking care of the rock crawlers around here. Got whole bunches of awesome Vanquish products here. Got the Vanquish wheels, got some Incision wheels, got the hop-ups, got hubs. This thing turns around. We've got option parts for other cars. Lots of good stuff here to build up a truck. We need to go pick out a body. All right, looks like a bunch of plastic bags on camera, but lots of awesome options here. Got a full stack of Proline crawler bodies. We've also got race car bodies and short course trucks up top. We got the new Proline Ranger. I'm thinking more of a full-size body, something that will cover the tires a little more than normal. Gonna have to make some choices here, though. One of my favorite things about Sky RC is they're always one of the first to adopt and help support the little guys. We got D's company, we got D's shock bands hanging out up here on the wall. Those just showed up today as well, so always awesome to see supporting the little guys around here as well. All right, so after hemming and hawing for a minute, I decided to actually go with the Proline Toyo Open Country tires, and then we're gonna do Vanquish Incision KMC Roswell wheels. That'll look pretty cool. And then I'm actually gonna order a hard body for my truck. In addition to that, I think we're also gonna order in a Fusion Pro. Those are hard to keep on the shelf right now. So we're gonna bring one of those in, put the whole thing together, and it should turn out pretty rad. We're gonna wait a little bit to get everything all collected together, and then we're gonna check out the build. We'll see you guys in a bit. All right, friends, here we are back at my house in the workbench in the hobby room. We don't spend enough time in here for you guys, so I want to do something a little bit different with this, and I want to build this truck on camera. Typically, I stray away from doing that because I fiddle a lot and I waste a lot of time where I would just burn up footage and all that. So I'm pretty confident with the VS4-10 kit. I've built two of them previously. This one's even simpler because it's just the slider kit. Now, one thing I do want to note is that we've got some really awesome parts here. I got the portal slider kit. We're not going to be using portal axles on this truck, so we're going to save these beautiful F10 complete axle kit. Set those in a cabinet for a rainy day. We'll use those another time. Let's cover electronics real quick. Got a Reese Raw 500. Going to be using that for steering servo duties. Slider kit. Got an awesome RC four-wheel drive 1987 Toyota Extra Cab hard body complete set. And I will say there are a lot of things in this box. This is going to be a project, and I want to do it justice. I just don't want to half-ass it. I want to do, whether I make it look rough or make it look pretty, I want to do a good job on the paint, so that's important to me. Let's talk wheels and tires. Krawler Innovations Lil Novas, 4.5 inch with soft foams. So I'm gonna try those out. The one thing I'm concerned about, our wheel and tire combo looks fantastic. I think this is gonna go really well with the 1987 Toyota pickup. Should be pretty cool. A little bit understated, should look really good on there. Thank you to Sky RC for helping me out with the wheels and tires here. These are very narrow tires, and these foams really appear to be pretty wide compared to these. So maybe we will try and trim them. Maybe we won't use these. We'll find out, you know. We'll try one. I did put the factory foams from the Proline tires in here. I've not vented them, but they are very soft and they're not going to perform well at all for side hilling, especially with the weight of the truck like a hard body. Now here's something I'm super excited about. We picked up some awesome parts from Vanquish here. Now, I'm a little annoyed, but it's all good. I'm gonna tell you what's going on with these. Went with black anodized Toyota, or Vanquish F10T axles is what these are truly called. It's a Toyota housing. Somebody did point out that the offset is on the wrong side for a Toyota truck, which is kind of funny, but you know, solid piece of metal here. These things are so well machined, nice and round. It's hard to machine round surfaces like this and have them look really good. Vanquish kills it on axles, guys. No one makes better looking axles than Vanquish. First set in black. Usually I go with clear anodized, but I just thought with this project, you know what, let's try something new. Try out the black axles. They are going to show scratches and whatnot, but my trucks get scratched. That's how it goes. It's all good. One gripe I had with this, when I opened up the package, super excited to convert my straight axles from my Mater truck. I'm going to rob the axles out of that to build these, the F10 straight axle truck. Unfortunately, had the wrong third member aluminum bit in there, but with one email to Vanquish, I was taken care of. I got the new one on the way. Hasn't showed up yet because I'm filming between the time I sent that email and it showed up. But literally one email, they took care of me, did a great job. Thank you very much, Vanquish. You know, unfortunately it happens. It was a black machined housing, so like, you know, I'm sure there's many different variants of them. However, it happens. They got me taken care of. Here is our F10T rear housing. I could completely rebuild this and like convert it, which I plan on doing. And for now, I'm just kind of showing it off. They come with nice stainless hardware. Got the lockouts right there, which are the little end caps that hold your bearings in. And this one does look like the correct third member for this axle, so that is promising. Went with something real subtle. You may not even be able to tell on camera. These are the steering knuckles for those axles, and I went with gray. I thought about going orange. I didn't want to quite go as bold as blue or red, but that is gray. When we get these out of the package, it'll show a little better. You know what? I've already got this package open. Let's take a look. Yeah, so it's pretty subtle. Axles black, knuckles gray. Obviously that's the wrong way. But I didn't want anything real poppy in there, but it'll be there for me, you know? It's a nice little detail for myself. So these are 3D printed hard body adapters for chassis. These are from Shrink RC. I hit up Shrink RC on Instagram, sent them a direct message, just asking them a real simple question. Hey, does the interior on this body fit with the VS4-10 chassis? He immediately got back to me. Great response time, back and forth a little bit, and he actually helped me out with getting a set of these for the truck for the build. So thank you very much, Shrink RC. I greatly appreciate it. Great dude to chat with. That was a good conversation we had there. So I already ate all the Jolly Ranchers that came with it. I'm sorry I can't show them, but I already ate them. I actually had one just about 5 minutes ago. That was the last one. So yeah, 3D printed body mount adapters, really cool parts. And these are going to help accommodate putting the body on the VS4-10 chassis. They have many different variants for different bodies going onto many different chassis. So if you're looking for something specific, check out Shrink RC. They make some really cool products. Real simple, you know, this should be nice and robust. It's got nothing crazy fancy going on, which keep it simple, stupid. That's really the good way to go there. I think these look plenty strong for what we've got going on. We're gonna start with getting the chassis put together, getting the axles converted, and see how things go there. All right, guys, welcome back. Logan from West Desert Wheeler. Today we're going to be cracking open the Vanquish product Builder's Bundle, the VS4-10 chassis kit. This one is the slider kit, and it's also the portal slider kit. I'm going to convert mine to a straight axle and use those portals on another build sometime. But let's get this thing cracked open. I've already stolen parts out of here, and I've conveniently laid the manual on top, the chassis rails in here, and oh look, the bag that we need to crack open and start stealing parts out of, all right on top. Nice and convenient. I will say that Vanquish did a really good job at getting a lot of stuff in a very small box. Since I've opened it and pulled the bag out, I've never been able to get all the stuff back in there. So that might be why I cheated a little bit right there. And it looks like we're gonna grab our front servo mount and our rear fuel cell, and then also our skid plate here in the middle. This one is going to be using a VFD twin transmission. So the VFD twin transmission, basically the kit that came with this slider kit, is its own bag over here. And that's where you're gonna find the skid plate is in this kit. And we're gonna start bolting all this up
to get everything ready to go, start building our chassis. So,
I mean, really, these VS4-10 kits really just fall in place. Everything's super simple here. They're big, solid pieces, so it makes the chassis really rigid. Unfortunately, it's not the lightest weight solution, but it is a very stout chassis. These things are super robust and tough, and it just makes it easy. So like, that's one chunk, here's a piece, here's a piece. There's only like 4 pieces on here, and it already looks like most of the chassis is there. A good tool that I recommend is picking up a pair of calipers. That way, if it says, hey, you're looking for a 10mm screw or a 12mm screw or a 6 or an 8, whatever, it's super easy just to mic it and just make sure you know you've got the right piece of hardware in the right spot, because on some things it does really matter. Good progress, got the chassis put together. I do have some questions on this big battery tray that came with this builder's kit. I'm not sure if this thing will clear the VFD twin, because it's pretty bulky up here. I mean, it sits way up high, so I'm guessing it runs backwards possibly. I'm not sure. Got it put together, looking really good. At this point, according to the instructions, it's time to build out some links, which in the builder's kit, they gave us titanium links. So that's a nice upgrade right there. So nice and lightweight, very strong. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw some curves in those. We'll have to pull those out and take a look. But it's time to build some links. I've got a new TGH rod end tool, so I'm going to chuck this up in my drill and then go ahead and buzz those things on. Should go pretty quick, and then we'll bolt those links into the chassis. You guys, this is my first time using this TGH rod end tool, and holy crap, I should have bought this thing a long time ago. So easy. So much better at getting the rod end on straight every time. Rinse, wash, repeat.
all right guys, so we do have our links built and installed in the chassis. Obviously we got 3 link up front because the drive shaft is offset to go into the offset differential in the axle, which is really cool. VFD has the offset front and centered rear output on the transmission. 4 link double triangulated rear, super nice. These titanium links are super lightweight, they feel great, they're machined really well, everything turned out awesome there. We do have our panhard bar or our track bar installed in the metal panhard bar mount, so that's nice and strong, really great setup there. The nut I usually run on the forward side because it's easier to get a driver into the backside back here for me at least. The frame rail comes down pretty sharp on the front edge, so I try and make the part where I need to get my driver on the mellow edge towards the rear of the truck. Little detail there, but it helps me out when building the truck. I did go digging through the kit and I did find the plastic battery tray, but this is because you have to run a servo on this battery tray mounted on the rear for the VFD twin transmission. So they do solve that issue. Like I was talking about, this is not a cheap part, so I do find it pretty interesting that this is included. But you know, maybe it's part of whatever kit. The chassis kit is what I assume this is. It's just the VS4-10 chassis kit, and then they added the other stuff on top of it. So cool. I guess you have the option of coming up with something later for that other one. I think I'm going to stick with this battery mount. May not even use it at all again. I'm going to be pretty limited on room. The interior is going to sit pretty low, and then the flat bed on the RC 4-wheel drive, we're going to have to figure out shock towers in the rear. That's going to be a bridge to cross at another time.
All right, so it's time to build the transmission for the truck. For me, I have a cheat code. I already have one built. So I got this with the Mater VS4-10, and I built it afterwards, just kind of had some spare time one night, and I was like, yeah, I'll build the VFD. So I'm just going to unbolt this out of this skid and bolt it into the next one. So nice and simple there. Unfortunately, if you guys are looking for how to build the VFD twin, this is not going to be the one. I can't remember. Krawler Canyon may or may not have something for you guys if you're looking for that. All right, here we go. VFD twin is mounted. I'm thinking this top plate is what's going to give us issues when dropping that interior in there. Also, this might give us some issues as well, which we can try and decase it a little bit, maybe get us a little extra room. But this top plate right here, there's not going to be much we can do about that. We're going to find out in time. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about when I say that Mater is the donor, This is the F10 straight axle off of my Speed Phoenix challenge, my V-Speed challenge, something like that. The monthly Mayhem challenge put on by Harley Designs and Scale Builders Guild. This little axle right here helped Mater get up to 60 plus miles an hour. If you guys want to hear the top speed, go check out the video, but it's pretty wild. Anyway, this thing is actually really pretty, and it was a pretty tough debate whether I should just keep this one and just throw this in the truck. But you know what's better than that? Is one of these. So why don't you come along with me? We're gonna crack this bad boy open right here on camera. You can enjoy the fresh new Vanquish axle smell right along with me. Yeah, here we go. Really lightweight. A lot of people think that these things add a ton of weight. They really don't. These are not heavy. And then of course we've got our third member with our bearing carrier here. And to put all the stuff in here, I just pulled out the differential, the ring and pinion, the bearings, all the hardware, my axle shafts out of the straight axle over here, the plastic one. So strip that down, and now we're gonna build up this VP rear axle. Still don't have the Vanquish front third member. It'll be here soon. So we're gonna get started on the rear. All right, so let's do something real simple. First, let's go ahead and take our pinion, and we're going to use that, put the bearing on the pinion shaft, throw that down on the third member, and use that to help install our pinion bearing in there. Got our aluminum insert here, and then we've got this small little notch right here for the ring gear, so I know I need to flip this upside down. Now I do need to use thread lock on this because anything metal will come loose, and the axles in particular get a lot of vibration and movement, so we need to Loctite them. Now what's kind of cool about this is they are the F10T axles, which are kind of replicated towards Toyota axles. And in fact, Toyotas do have a removable third member where the ring and pinion come out together, which makes them really easy to work on. I took mine out of my old 1986 4Runner when I put a locker in it. And you just take it out of the truck, bring it over to the workbench, and then work on it. You don't have to sit there upside down trying to gear lash and do all that crap with it installed in the axle. Get all that set, then you go back down, bolt it in, and then just like the RCs, you have to pull your axle shafts out to get the differential out of there, and you know, you gotta battle all that. So disconnecting brake lines and all that fun stuff, pulling your axles out the end of the axle housings, but good learning experience for sure. I remember doing that in my old 86 4Runner. I had to do it a couple times because I got it wrong and broke a piece just after I installed it. The same day I thought I had it done, I was tearing it back apart. Okay, let's grab our axle housing. Yep. Link mount at the top. Got our V to know that this is the orientation it needs to go in. I'm pretty sure that it would be impossible to put this in upside down anyway. Nope, it won't work. So, way to go, Vanquish. Only one way this can work. Again, need to get the thread lock out. I'm really excited for this project. I still don't have a paint scheme picked out, but I'm confident I'll come up with something that I like, even if it's simple. I'm thinking maybe a brown or a yellow, something with some rad stripes on it, maybe a little crusty looking. All right, guys, here she is, hex to hex, fully built. Great looking axle housing, man. That went together super smooth. The rear axle is always super easy. They're just really basic. I mean, not much to them at all. Ring and pinion, axle shafts, lockouts, you're done. Pretty simple. Something cool on these axles is you do have adjustable link mounting points. You can change your anti-squat. Basically, there's a link riser built into the axle housing itself. So I will probably mount mine to the top of the link position available right here. Just start out with that, see how the truck handles. Usually once I do that, I don't mess with it again, but that's how we're gonna get that bolted in here. Let's get it bolted up to this 4-link, and then just for fun, we're gonna go ahead and slip the wheels and tires on the rear, get this thing sitting on some wheels and tires where it can at least. One thing I like to do just keeps things out of the way and simple. Lay the chassis upside down, flip the lower links up top like this, because we're gonna mount the upper links first anyway. And then you can rotate this thing all the way around to make it easy for yourself. So let's just get one in, get one started, get the screw, and just hold that one link in place. Obviously don't push the screw all the way through. Then grab your second one, finagle it around. Yeah, the pillow ball is going to want to try and rotate on you. There we go. And this guy is going to drop into our lower link mount. And because the shocks mount separate of the links, that simplifies these. So just do things individually on the axle back here. So that's nice. Like I said, got our wheels and tires mounted just for fun. No big deal there. I'm going to have to remove them to install the shocks in like 3 minutes. But overall, the profile of this axle is actually very slim and nice and tidy. So like, this is actually going to be a high clearance, good performing axle out on the rocks. All right, guys, I have already assembled 2 of these shocks, but I'm going to show you guys how to do one of them. A lot of people don't look forward to building shocks, myself included. They're not my favorite thing. They're not super satisfying, but you're going to need shocks on your truck. So let's crack these guys open. These shocks that come with the Phoenix are nice because they already put the O-ring cartridge in the base of the shock body. And those are held in place with a little like E-clip, C-clip, I don't know, these little tiny retaining rings in here. So at least Vanquish does that for you. So I appreciate that they do that because that's really tedious little stuff. It's kind of annoying to do yourself. 80mm shock shafts. With this truck, I don't really think I need more than 80mm shocks, even with the straight axles, because with the full hard body, I think that we would just be smashing up the body more with our tires if they were any longer and gave us more travel in the suspension. All right, so my small amount of experience has taught me that I will put a shock together and put oil in it and then try and build the top cap. So that's where I'm going to try and start with this kit. And so far, if I do this successfully, this one will be 3 for 3 that I haven't tried to build the top cap with a shock body full of oil. So there's my advice to you, is to go ahead and build up the top cap right now. Let's start with that. That's a good place to start. All right, so I ended up using pliers there and it worked out for me. Usually I can snap it into the tabletop, but I was really struggling on this one for some reason. So got that one installed, that's good to go. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take my piston here. I have been putting the completely flat edge down for whatever reason. I don't know what direction it's really supposed to go. That's the way I'm doing it. Now this one you do have to use pliers on up top just due to the space you have. But I like to kind of triangulate the shock shaft and the E-clip in your fingers here to help with, once you're trying to add some pressure to it, that it doesn't just go flying if it kind of comes out of position. But had good luck there, nice and easy first try. Got that bad boy on there. So now this guy is ready for just a little drop of oil. I have super glue sitting on my bench and that is not what I want to use. Because I don't have shock pliers either, because I'm cheap, I death grip the shock shaft with my pair of pliers, and traditionally I just take the rod end and I thread it on by hand, but lately I got real fancy. I got that TGH tool. I go up to the bottom of the threads and then we cycle it a few times, get some air bubbles out of there. Oh yeah, lots of air bubbles coming up. That dropped probably a 1/4 of an inch in oil level. So now we're going to throw some more drops in. My goal is always to just underfill it, so that way I don't have to deal with bleeding it and all that. Now there is a bleeder screw on the top cap like we installed earlier, so you should technically overfill it, screw this in without the bleeder screw in, cycle it all the way up, whatever bleeds out, wipe it away, and then put your bleeder screw in and it's completely full of oil. I am lazy. And if I have just a little air pocket in there, I try and reduce it as much as possible. Okay, yeah, like I'm sure this is like 98% full. So that's how I do it. And that's the 3rd one I've done and it's worked out really well. We forgot our shock collar. So let's pop the top cap off real quick. It doesn't matter if you remove this or install it, just don't let any oil escape when you do. So we got our spring collar on here. Our preload collar, I guess would be the official name of this guy. And then our shock cap reinstalled. Don't cross thread it. Snug, don't need to kill it. Still make sure it cycles all the way down, and it does. So we're good to go there. Now we're ready for our spring and our spring retainer. Not my favorite thing to do, but it's really not that bad. Once you learn how one works, they're all very similar. And that's how these little guys work. So let's snap in some ball ends here. The Vanquish axles require the wider ball right here as a little spacer. So this guy goes on the bottom because it goes on the axle side. Again, some needle nose pliers. Yes, shock pliers are better, but this also shows that you can do this with just everyday tools. There we go. They don't even need to be needle nose, honestly. Makes it a little more precise for E-clips, but this part does not need to be needle nose.
All right, so at this point, I've got the differential installed in the third member. I've got the third member in the axle. I've got the shocks and links attached. Now we're gonna go ahead and put on my gray knuckles onto the axles, install the universal shafts, and get everything bolted up. Well, it looks like the top shear mounts, I have two left-handed sides, so guess we're building the left-hand knuckle. Oh, man.
All right, one knuckle on. Got to wait for our replacement part, but got some things knocked out. Got our servo horn just temporarily put on the servo because it's not powered up. I don't know where center is. Let's flip this guy over. So then we've got our drag link going down, got our tie rod installed, both the hardware going through our knuckles there, hardware on the knuckles, full bearings, everything. The axle housing itself, nice and smooth. This thing looks really fantastic. The upper third link mount's really cool. I like how tall that is. Gotta love the clearance up here with the VFD. All the titanium links, fresh 60 weight oil and brand new shocks. It's time to get the front tires mounted up on this thing, and then she's going to be a full-on roller sitting on her own weight. And then really one of the last things we're going to do from out of the kit is build ourselves some drive shafts, and then this thing should be ready to start finagling a body onto it. I do not have electronics installed. That will go pretty quick. That's easy stuff. But then I also want to have the body ready to be installed to know where I want to put my electronics. So like, is my battery going to go up in the nose, or is my ESC going to go up in the nose? Maybe both. I mean, I could make it happen if necessary. So just going to keep on tinkering. Time to get this thing on wheels, build some drive shafts, get it on its own weight. I'm not sure why, but I actually do enjoy building the universal joints for the drive shafts. They're dead simple and they just go together easy, so I kind of like them. So there we go. Pin in there, and then we get our cross pin. The only thing I'm missing is the plastic molded piece. Come on, pin. There we go. And then pay attention to where the threads are, because the hole on the plastic is larger for the threads for the cross pin that goes actually like through the drive shaft, your pinion input. And then you got this little flush mount screw, 2mm head, 3mm threads. They're just keyed, super simple. That dives in there. Now these little drive shaft screws will come loose if you don't thread lock them. I've actually had that happen multiple times. All right, guys, I have recorded a ton of footage, and hopefully I'm gonna chop this down into a much more manageable video where we actually just get through the chassis build. I was thinking about doing this in like a 3-part series just at this point, but I think I'm gonna save you guys the time. So, got the VS4-10 roller chassis ready to go. Got our drive shafts put together and complete. Those are all under there. Got the titanium links. Yet again, just want to point those out. Those things are sweet. Great value in that builder's kit that's currently available. Then we went with the metal axles, obviously. Those are the F10T. Those look great. Got the KMC Roswell wheels. We've got the Proline Toyo RTs on here, the open country RTs. Fantastic looking tire. They are a little big, and on the straight axle truck, without having the portal, you're gonna lose a little bit of clearance there. So, I mean, when you turn and it wants to articulate, it wants to rub really bad. I have nothing against actually opening up the fender well a bit. We may end up doing that,
but within reason. I don't want to like go all the way up to where the flare line is. I mean, these are nice bodies and I don't want to just hack this one up. Maybe a future one. But using the Shrink RC 3D printed body mounts, super solid, super simple the way these work. They just bolt right onto where the factory outer slider portion bolts onto the Phoenix. So super simple there. Just the standard Vanquish slider is what it mounts to. So you got the standard plastic slider under here, and then there's an adapter that mounts on the top. And I'm assuming he set the ride height of the body to where it would help most with getting your interior to clear as best as possible, while also getting the bumpers to line up with the chassis where you want. I'm assuming he did that because he does this for, I mean, that's what he does. I'm assuming he would put that kind of detail into it. So got the roller chassis ready. Just kind of teasing myself and you guys here with the body bolted onto this, just getting a rough idea of what it's going to look like. The bed needs to go to the chop shop. This thing is way too long back here. So we're going to cut from like this body line in front of the taillights to right behind the fender flare there. And I'm going to get rid of all that overhang. And the back edge of this fender already sits behind the chassis rail. So anything beyond that point is just overhang and it's going to get snagged on stuff. So I'm going to shrink that up as much as possible. We're also going to have to accommodate for the shock towers coming through the bed. And I think that I'm just going to cut those out. I also might just go ahead and cut out so you can see the fuel cell on the VS4-10 chassis right here, and also paint that lid up. So lots of details to come. This build is not just going to be like an overnight build, which is what I'm used to. So trying to take my time and enjoy the process, trying to remind myself to enjoy this time, because I do enjoy working on these things and they are a lot of fun. And this is something totally new to me. So trying out new and different things for myself, that's where we grow the most. So having a good time with it, looking forward to it, kind of scratching my head in a few spots, but I think in the end, we're gonna have a pretty sweet looking little Toyota. I do have a few ideas of what I might want to do on the body and the paint, but I think we're gonna sleep on it one more night before I share it with you guys. We will see you guys on the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to hit the affiliate links down below and keep the rubber side down.